Some lessons this week.
Very, very hard lessons, but yes, I
Yeah.
learned a lot. A lot of stuff that I needed to know. It's with my parents, you know, being gone, um,
Right.
in a lot of ways, I'm the parent now for my siblings in in
Right.
in certain ways. That what happens is that sometimes I kind of have to just sit myself down and I have to give myself a good like tough love. Okay, what's the problem? What is this? What do you need to fix? Um,
To yourself.
and to myself, yeah, and
Yeah.
I never want to be that person who's like, oh my god, my boss did this and this and this, or oh my god, my roommates are such, or my boyfriend is this, and I don't want to be someone who's blaming my situation on everybody that's around me. Like before I do that, I have to make sure that I have done everything I can possibly do to make things better, and that can be a hard.
Yeah. I completely am on the same page. Um, I also try my best to process my shit before I'd rather having it processed on my own, and then I can share it in a more casual way, and it still serves the purpose of easing the pain and finding some support.
And it's
But
always
yeah,
better if you find out, like for me, when I look inwards, I look inside to see what needs to change. Let me tell you, it's always better to find it inside than outside, because on the inside I can change it. If it is something that I could be doing better, well, thank God, because now I can go ahead and do the things to change it. But if I realize that it has to do with somebody else, are they
right,
going to change? Are they not? What do I do about it? That then to me, that's actually more complicated.
right. It's also more efficient because
Yes,
you
yes.
have follow through, on what you learn from the inside. Because if you just go on the outside to get some type of relief, then you might not actually learn from the mistakes you made, and you receive it as like a pass.
Yes. And you also might find yourself with that same type of person or situation again and again,
Right.
because
All right. 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 Exactly. By not doing the internal work, you actually don't get to a better version of yourself, and you're going to repeat the pattern that got you there in the first place. I feel like this could be actually alive.
well,
Like it could actually interest people.
well, because and I was thinking about this when I had mentioned, I said, oh, this one person worked with, he's a French instructor and so forth. And they were like, oh, when I was trying to learn, they were trying to learn Spanish. And I guess a long time ago, when I was trying to learn Spanish, I was taking something and there was like a group thing and that they would meet in person, and they were complaining about the other people. They're like, but they're Spanish, they weren't very friendly, and they weren't like patient with me about the stuff that I have to do, and blah blah blah. And I said, listen, there's more to learning the language than knowing the words. Suppose you went to Ecuador, you go to Spain, you go wherever, and you're trying to learn another language and you get lost. The person you go to talk to might not want to talk to you, or they might be rude, or they might be busy. This is good practice for you in the real world to talk to someone in that language that you're trying to learn, where the communication might have to be brief or so forth. I was like, it's not to say that you want to be stuck in a group that you don't like, but you have to kind of understand these opportunities where you have to look inward. How can you only are you only willing to speak Spanish if it's going to be to friendly people, or do you want to learn the language so that you can talk to people in Spanish no matter what the situation is? So that can be, um, I said, that can be a learning experience, and they thought about it, and then I said, yeah, it just depends on why you were trying to learn the other language. And that's what I love so much about you with the French conversations, is that it isn't just to say, oh, I know how to translate English into this other language. It's that
Right.
I can go and communicate, learn from, share experiences with people.
Exactly, and we do that in every session. You know,
Yes.
I always like to start with you know, how you feeling today, what's going on with you, and why. And sometimes we dwell on that, you know, for you know a third of the session, if not more.
Right.
And it happens to be in French.
Well, and you know what? When you say it happens to be in French, what I have found, and this is from when I moved to Puerto Rico and I had to speak, I didn't know any Spanish and I was forced to learn. I was very resistant, but I was forced to learn in order for me to be able to continue in the right grade that I was in. Otherwise, they were going to make me go back and repeat the seventh grade. But when you're learning a new language, or if you meet somebody that speaks a different language, you're like falling in love or whatever and so forth, that when you talk about, oh, you're having these conversations like the casual Saturdays and stuff like that, and just have to be in French, I find that when you're learning a new language, it pushes you to be a bit more honest, especially for Americans, that when you speak, and you're speaking in English, there are a lot of ways to kind of say what you mean, but to dance around the subject. But when you're learning a new language, you just have to be direct. You have to use that one word and you have to throw right out there. You can't like be very subtle about it. And I think that's a very beautiful thing. Like when you see two people who really like each other, doesn't even have to be romantic, but when you see them trying to find the right words to communicate, there's something so genuine about them, about the expression of it. Whereas
Wow.
you can be very, very clever. You can be very misleading when you are very fluent in the language. Americans for sure, because I know Americans are very,
Right. I
very
love that idea, Achilles. Thank you for putting that out to me. Uh, yeah, that idea of authenticity, that
yes,
when you start learning a language, uh, because your vocabulary is limited, uh, you know, you're just going to speak your mind in a
yes,
way.
yes.
Um,
You can't
and
you can't hint at something. You can't just suggest, oh, so I saw that there was a
right.
new
Oh,
no, you can't
Americans
say,
love doing that all the time. I have a
yeah,
friend who's an entrepreneur. She's not a close friend, but she's a friend. Oh my God, she speaks a lot. She's very successful. She's the wife of a friend of my wife. And if you hear me, if this becomes public, I noticed that yeah,
the
when
the,
you
the
master the language,
yes.
you tend to, you know, do lots of subtle things.
Well, for Americans, it's the term is passive aggressive, right?
Uh-huh,
Which is
uh-huh, yeah.
where I I'm not gonna like I like
Ah, they
yeah.
are masters compared to French people.
Oh,
They
there's no this,
French people are they're good at it, but Americans they are masters at it,
yes.
really. And it's not only, you know, I mean I'm putting fingers, but I'm not. I love that person, but she's one of my friends who's American. And I don't have many American friends. Now I have you. Thank God.
But it's
Uh,
but it's a culture. It's a culture thing where if you're not fluent in that language, first of all, you might not catch it. But there's a even now more than ever in the United States, there is this hesitancy about offending somebody, about saying the wrong thing or being
right.
confrontational. But if I'm let's say I'm with you and you and I are roommates, and I tell you, and you come in to the apartment and you're like, oh my God, work. I've been working so much. It's just nonstop. And then I say, yeah, I figured you must have been very busy because, with all those dishes that are still in the sink from yesterday, you're working very hard. So you could do that in English and just be very passive aggressive saying, I don't like these dishes in the sink. But if I'm just trying to say it in French, what am I going to say? Pretty much like, you dishes dirty, clean, something, and it's like good because it's annoying having to
You're
try
funny.
to find the hidden message in what someone is saying. That's so annoying. Just say what you mean.
All right. So my wife and I recently we've started to work on our listening skills, and aspects of that journey include understanding the different layers of communication and listening. That sometimes, you need to understand the bigger picture. Sometimes you need to understand details. You need to take notes for details when there are instructions. Sometimes what is said is not relevant.
Right.
What's important is emotions, maybe some cues that you might see that someone is annoyed, and how do you unlock that,
Right.
etc., etc. So it's not an overnight success.
Right.
In my case, detail listening is important to improve. Uh, but so regarding what you said, I think Diane, who's a French converser with the rubies, who's a ruby, she pointed out that here in the U.S., because of the different cultures, there is this culture of uh, politically correct and trying not to offend others, and there is some uh, there's some benefits to that, because you have so many different cultures, a melting pot. You might not know what might offend a certain type of, immigrants and
Sure.
another type, etc., etc. So I think it's that is good, um, but yeah, what you said is really really nice.
Well, and what
Right.
happens though with being politically correct is that the intention behind the political correctness type culture is to respect all different types of cultures and experiences and things like that. That's the intention behind being politically correct.
Right.
However, when people are using it in the way that I don't want anyone to sue me, I don't want anyone to blast me on Facebook, then it's not about respecting another culture. It's actually about masking someone's real thoughts,
Right.
and
It fails the purpose. Actually, I think we had the same conversation actually with in French, and it happened to be in French with Diane and Luda, with the rubies. And I don't know if Divya was there. And if it becomes extreme, it actually, the idea was that it actually fails the purpose.
sure, and like
Um,
anything, it can be abused, right? But if it's done in the right spirit, then when you're being politically correct, a great example is when someone refers to women as girls. Okay, like that's one of the ones that's so tricky, because even women will say, well, me and the girls are going to go out tonight, blah blah, whatever, so forth. But with men, usually it's like men or the guys. They don't really say the boys. They usually wouldn't do that.
right.
Maybe in a country song, but other than that, it's like men and guys. But for women, a lot of times they're referred as girls, and sometimes they like it because it makes them sound young, but sometimes it diminishes their empowerment.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm not a girl, I'm a woman. And so when you are in the corporate world, to be politically correct, you would say, okay, so for all of the women who feel this way instead of all the girls, it can be very tricky, very very tricky, especially when a man hears a woman saying girl this, girl that. Then that man tries to do the same thing, and it might not be received the same way.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it happens
Uh,
all the time.
I just don't happen I don't remember why at some point it defeats the purpose, but never mind.
It, it,
But
it,
I understand your point. It's subtle, and you depending on the situation and all of
well,
that.
when you say it defeats the purpose, what happens is that, well, it defeats the purpose in that if I'm being politically correct, it's because I'm respecting you and whether it could be your nationality, your gender, whatever. I'm just doing this out of respect to you. It defeats the purpose if I'm just being politically correct, so that you don't even know what I really think. You don't know what my
Right.
intentions are, and
Exactly.
it breaks down the communication. It doesn't elevate it.
Actually, it's exactly what you said, and
Yeah.
you keep on repeating it from the beginning. And I think it a category of people who tend to do that to defeat the purpose of the politically correct are political people.
Well, political people
Politicians.
and lawyers. Oh my God, lawyers, they know.
Lawyers are great at
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
Because the lawyers will say, "Oh, you hit someone with your car," but do not say, "I'm sorry." Like that's also in terms of the correct thing to say is, "Are you okay?" Because if you say, "I'm sorry," then you're admitting guilt and so forth and whatever. But that's the breakdown in communication. If someone gets hit by a car, you do feel bad. I am sorry that this happened to you. You want to say that,
Right. So instead of giving respect, you're taking
yes,
from the relationship. You're taking what is not what is not owed to you, right? You're
correct.
taking and you're being dishonest. Right? It's a form of dishonesty somehow.
Yeah, it's a mask to protect you.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. There's the fear of always revealing yourself, and a man only has two lives, and the second life starts when he discovers that he only has one.
Yes.
So
and when I see the pictures, for example, I remember when we first spoke about the pictures of, like, I think it was Casual Saturday, maybe one of the classes, and it had different it had like 4 people in it, and I think you were in it too, right? And we were looking, and I said the tricky thing here is that nobody's really like smiling, right? They don't have like the big smiles. And I said, and it's a conversation, so maybe they were just like listening to each other, who knows? And I said, but I also know that because you're learning a new language, depending on the level that you're at, 2 things have to happen to be in this, what we call like getting the experience, right, through the conversation. 2 things have to happen. One is that you have to be very honest, because like we just said with the language, you have to be very direct, and you have to be very exposed to making a mistake. And those are things that for a lot of people is a very hard thing. And that's why I thought you mentioned it in one of the bullet points that you had said, that the groups aren't more than 4. And I was like, that's a really strong selling point, because it's a group of 6 people. I went onto I'm doing a high school mentoring program where these kids in the 9th grade, I meet with them every other week, give them some advice, whatever. It's just cool. Just I have 2 kids. I meet with them separately, right? Different times. So there was an orientation. When I went to that orientation, that Zoom, there was 28 people on there. So I was like, oh my God, there's so many on this Zoom. Because it was just everybody kind of getting to know each other. But there were so many people, I was like, well, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to stay quiet, just listen, blah, 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 whatever, so forth. Which, because the more people there are, the more it takes for you to feel comfortable, to feel relaxed, to know that you're not bothering somebody or taking up time from somebody else who wants to speak, whatever. So those 2 things where, having to be honest and having to be exposed are
exactly.
That totally comes from a comfort level. And that's why, like, when you see how other people are, everybody's kind of relaxed. The instructor is key to knowing how to.
Right.
And I know that for you, like, you must get all not only all types of people, but different cultures, right? They're all over the country, all over the world. So.
Oh yeah, Luda is Russian. So Luda will disagree a lot because she just speaks her truth. Luda, if you hear me, I pretty much love you. And thank you for making me a better person several times.
But that's how the culture.
That's the culture. I learned that through my wife, who used to work with Russians or somebody else. I don't know if it's my wife who told me that, but yeah, my friend Stefan that you met.
Oh, okay.
He used to work with
That's
Russians.
Right. He used to be in Russia. He had said that. Yeah.
Oh man, you're such a good listener.
Yeah, I remember he bumped around. He was in Russia, I think, for I don't know if it was 3 years, but whatever. But I know he was in Russia. And the opposite of that is California, where everybody's like, yeah. They say yes, even if they don't believe it, they don't like it. Everyone is like this, like you have to.
I hate that, I tended to be like this a lot. Yes. And then,
Yeah, they.
My wife will also speak the truth.
No, and I, my feeling is that most, like when I, for a job interview, but it's true for everything in life. Um, I went to a job interview and I really wanted the job, and I ended up getting it. But the guy said, and this was actually in California, when I was living with my sister, and the guy says, so it was for retail. Okay, so we all know retail in the United States. Yeah, it's one of the circles of hell. But he said in retail, it is understood that the customer is always right. What do you think about that? Now, I was applying for a job in management. So I said, I don't agree with that at all. I said, but I don't, and this goes for the people who love to, like, who always will argue back or challenge you. And the same thing for the people who are always agreeing, is that I don't think that the customer is always right. I don't even think that the customer always feels like they need to be right. What they want is to be heard. Right. If they feel like the person actually, I said, we've all been on some call, about a bill, about an account, about whatever, with some support system, whether it's your cable network or whatever, right? And the person you're talking to really can't do anything to change what you're upset about. There's nothing that they can do.
That's amazing that you're mentioning that example, Achilles, because
but when you feel like that person actually is listening and that they empathize and they're right. Like, oh, I'm really sorry. I wish there was something. If you felt that was genuine, for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, that's enough to say, well, at least somebody acknowledged my frustration.
Right, right. Of course.
Yeah, but then there are people that if you call up and they're all frustrated and they're angry, some customers, if you give them what they want, they will abuse that and they'll call back again and again for more stuff, wanting to get more things. And so I said, the customer is not always right, but the customer does deserve to feel like they're being heard. And I think that that's what happens when somebody comes at me and says, well, I don't agree with what you're saying, so forth. As long as they feel like I'm hearing what they're actually saying, then the argument or the debate usually can go to a good place. They don't feel like they're being attacked or challenged or whatever, but it's
right.
Cultures, it's very tricky.
So I have 2 points. It's almost incredible that you're mentioning this, because today I've had actually a customer who missed on payments, and I just realized it, and well, I reached out and I mentioned, sorry?
I said that's not a fun conversation to have.
No, it's not a fun conversation. So what happened is the first month was processed. The second month, it kept on sending emails. I'm using Stripe, this payment system, automated payment system. So, I just check it once and there. I'm not really checking it a lot, these days. It's not
right, because you wear all the hats in your company. So
right, and we're still very early stage right now, so it's not like it's a multi-million dollar company yet.
Right.
But to say the least. But so it kept on sending, and trying to do the payment. So it sends invoice. I did do an email at the beginning, onboarding the person, and every time at the bottom of it, I put the cost, monthly cost with all the details, as you know. They did do the payment themselves. So they had to go on Wise. They had to enter their credit card.
Right, right. So there was no mystery. There was no mystery about what they were supposed to do.
When I look at the chat log at the beginning, how I was onboarding them, I see that, there was a little bit of confusion, but what's written is really clear, actually. The confusion in their mind comes from the fact that, I need to do a better job at marketing it, like the baby warriors, the rubies, the out French, the Jedis. It's a bit confusing. and I didn't have a proper website, etc. But I was pretty clear. It's written black on white. That person wanted to join the Art French workshop, one of the groups within the Art French workshop. The Jedi is free, so I was just presenting the options. But they never did any Jedi session. All right. So despite all of that evidence, they are still in denial. They're still saying that they wanted to join the Jedis, which at some point, it's could I have done a better job? Yes. But especially at the marketing stuff.
Right.
But did I do a decent job at saying and at sending an email with the cost, at directing them to the website where they made the payment?
And so this would be my question then, because if someone joins the Jedis, at no point in time would they be entering any kind of credit card information. Correct?
So
if all you ever do is the Jedis, if you've never done anything else.
That's actually, I didn't think about that. But that's a good, kind of like a good, that's a good.
Because I was doing stuff for you.
You're right about that. I actually created a product and I put $0, but everything is written there, monthly, email, they receive lots of reminders from Stripe that they need to pay, and they still don't pay for the second month, but they still come to the sessions. And then the third month is when I realize it. And so I just reach out thinking, this will be straightforward. There won't be any issue there.
Right.
And to be honest, it's a person that I don't know them well, but I choose my clients in a way. I choose, and so I think this is a person with heart. This is a person with lots of good qualities, but they tend to be distracted, and that's true not only for other stuff.
Sure.
And I can empathize with that because me. I failed you, right? Several times, so I can empathize with that. And
so you approached it,
but regardless of that, right now it's just pure denial. That's if you assemble all the evidence, it's just pure denial. Like even what could have been a confusion, if you look at it, it's actually clear. The Jedi is free, and the other group, I don't want to mention which one, is part of the Art French workshop. All right. So even that, which you could argue, could be, but then they're literally saying, I thought this was free. I subscribed to the Jedi, and come on, you were never in the Jedis. Did you attend any Jedi session? What was the name of your group? Also, who paid? Who entered the credit card?
Well, this is what is so funny is that I was working on the website stuff, right? And how
can you go unnoticed when you paid the monthly fee? It's $299.
Well, the landing page, which I have to show you, like for the website, the homepage, I created also another page because I was like, every time we meet, I want to have a new page to show you, right? So that way that it just keeps getting more and more full. So I did one for the Jedis. And when I was looking at your language about the Jedis, at one point, this is me, when I was working on it yesterday, I was like, God, it's like, he may as well just call it the free Jedis. Because every time he says Jedis, he says free, 100% free, the no cost, whatever. Like wherever there's Jedis, you say it. So that's why to me, there wouldn't be any confusion because I was laughing because I was like, to say something is 100% free is redundant because if it's free, there's no cost. But yet it just, it's all about like what you end up paying is you're just paying your time, your motivation, your energy. That's what you're putting into the Jedis, and that's it. So for someone to think I'm in the Jedis and that's what I subscribe to, then one would imagine that they would turn around and say, why am I getting these messages about billing if I'm in a free?
Right, she got billed. I mean,
and you wouldn't fill it out
got
either.
Billed.
I will. when I'm signing up,
they paid for the first month. I mean, come on. I mean,
what you say to pay for the first month. That's the thing is that I anytime I'm signing up for something, the minute they want my credit card information, then that's when I stop. I'm like, well, what am I signing up for? Is it
right? You have to choose. You have to click. It says monthly. You receive an email from me with it says the cost and the detail.
Yes.
You know, and you.
So I mean,
and now you're still saying this. So actually, it was a great exercise for me not to have my emotions involved. I'm just I don't need to be angry at all for this. I know that I can improve. You know, if I don't want to be politically correct, you know, I'm because I take some it. However, I did a good job, and I'm not going to let this go because that would be another version of me. And you know, things, you know, if you don't take, you know, hours of your time, of other people's time seriously, you know, that's might have been me in the past. It's no longer me. So I know, you know, I know what might have happened on their end, you know, like this distraction, this thing, but it's just it doesn't do the job, and I'm not just gonna ban. It's just I'm not banning.
And then also at the basic level, it's like, okay, then all right. So moving forward, how do I make sure that this, you know, of course, doesn't happen again? That there is the clarity for
right. So there's a twofold to that, because obviously, you know, marketing and all of that could be done better. You know, like wordings of groups and all of that. So that is good. You mentioned about entering the credit card, and actually you can, but it said $0. So you can actually enter if you want your credit card. I never ask you to do it.
Oh, I see.
But okay. You can, and it says $0. Maybe that's a mistake, because why would you want them to enter? I just did that because just to show them, look, I still want your, you know, it's not that I want your credit card, but this is not, it's a zero symbolic dollar. It's actually costly, you know, it's I value this a lot. And here you can, even if you have a credit card and you have $0 in your account, if you want to participate, you can put it there. So but just to my point, you know, when you're selling, you know, what I like about the Jedis is it's caritative. It's like I like this idea of promoting equal opportunity and access to people. So giving some of my time for that, especially when I enjoy it, is great. And to be completely honest, on the other side it's also at the beginning I needed to build my reputation. So I gave 100 classes for free. So there's that. And it's also a selling point, you know, like if you are motivated, regardless of your background, you can get something for free and something that is valuable, you know. So you know, the free tag is a selling point. And when you're starting, it's you know, it's marketing, you know. I mean, all these strategies.
It's marketing, but I always believe that the best marketing is rooted in a powerful mission, right? A powerful mission statement. And so when I was reading the bullet points, right? Because I was rearranging them to put them in groups of like, these are the benefits. This is about pricing. This is about marketing. You know, I was trying to figure out, you know, what was what. And I realized, I said, you know, the message about French conversations is that we're providing the opportunity for everyone to learn French. Now, if you pay for the classes, then you're able to get certain resources and tools, whatever. They might expedite it, or you might get stuff that would take less time because you get certain things. Sure. But everybody and anybody. And the free part, I was like, wow, what's really amazing about that is that this is where if someone is in Haiti and has to learn French in order to get a certain job, and I need a job, I'm unemployed, but in order to get this one, I have to learn French. If I had the money to pay for the classes, then I wouldn't be needing the job. But this person can still be part of it by going, being through the Jedis, and providing that. So that is it great marketing? Sure. But it's also community service, which I've always believed. That's one of the reasons why I do this stuff with those high school kids. I was like, anybody, no matter who you are, a certain portion of your life, a little slice, no matter what it is, should go to community service.
Of course.
And the Jedis provides that platform. So there's something really powerful about saying anybody on the planet that's 18
right, and it's further than the Jedis, because you've got that forum, and the forum is free. I want to make that a data user-owned forum in the future. That's a whole topic. But with the Alt French, you can imagine that if you have a group of Indian students or students from India that would like that type of franchise, like the French conversation type of experience, I am more than happy to have Indian French teachers or coaches to be branded to go through that journey of knowing what is this product is, and to actually replicate it at a affordable price for the current economy. And I know there's lots of Indian students, because I get a lot from Facebook. Facebook is huge in India, and lots of them, they see French as an opportunity to get a job because of all these French IT companies.
Oh, okay.
And Alliance Française, this organization that teaches French is throughout the world. The two official languages of NATO is English and French. So that was actually part of today's lesson with the rubies. So there are a lot of opportunities when you speak French, and that idea of like being on the forum in a journey with kind of like a path of what notions we want you to learn, a little bit like the alt MBA, that teaches you not only MBA stuff, but it teaches you empathy. It teaches you allowing yourself to be seen. So yeah, sharing about these problems that we were, and being better people, becoming better persons. That's why, that's how I'm living it. That's how I'm living French conversations. You're making me a better person. I failed you
and
for the record several times.
And it's kind of funny because I recognize that in the United States, most people, they live for their work instead of they work in order to live, right? It's all about the job and the corporate stuff and all that. And there's a certain belief system about, money is the bottom line. Profit is what it's all about. But truthfully is that if you create something that helps people become better, and a lot of times that works if you're doing something that's helping you become better. Like, the Oprah Winfrey show. Now there's other talk shows. We had the Jerry Springer show where people were like throwing chairs at each other and going crazy, things like that.
Jerry?
Jerry Springer. It was a horrible. I say horrible because they would like get into fights. They had always security around, and they're getting into all these fights, and people punching each other. Some people be bloody on TV. This was daytime TV, a talk show. Like it was so crazy. But then,
Oh yeah, I know that show.
yeah, and people were
Like a
watching.
couple issues, right?
Yeah, and they were like, people thought it was funny. They thought it was entertaining.
Oh yeah, I know that show.
So a
Yeah.
lot of people watch it. But then you see a show like Oprah, where the fan base, the following that she had,
Right.
is that people, the idea was that by watching her show, you became a better person. Now, for some
Right.
people, they became better because they lost weight. Other people became better because they started reading again. In the
Oh
book,
my God.
all these different things. So I do believe, just as you're saying, that if you
Right.
create a product that helps people become better, and not this like, oh, I joined today and I'll be fluent, in a week. No one thinks that or believes that. No one needs
Right.
to.
Right.
But if they find week after week, my French is getting a little bit better, I'm
Exactly.
communicating a little bit better. And guess what? I'm also enjoying the fact that I'm having real interactions with these people on a Saturday, casual Saturdays, and talking and being open, and it's like fun and exciting. Like I feel like my world is growing. I'm learning about different cultures. So I'm becoming a better person. I'm becoming a smarter person,
Right.
a more cultured person, because you learn about these different
Exactly.
things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Ah, my God, you're killing it.
but that's to me, that's the real marketing, is that it works. If it actually works, then that's the best marketing there is.
Right. And so just to build on that, it's very well said. And I'm glad that this is recorded.
Yeah.
I might even ask you if we can put it public.
yeah, sure. Like, well, this is something
we'll decide at the end.
We'll see what happens. But even if, depending on what some of the video stuff, like it's a great
this could be marketing, like following, genuine entrepreneurs, building a business from scratch.
But what we talked about as far as like having to be honest and exposed when you're learning a language, just that little piece, and people sharing their thoughts, their experiences with that would be great. The idea of, like we said, when you're trying to talk to somebody and people just want to feel like they're being heard, right? There's a lot of pieces there that I think it'd be amazing to get people's insight.
Oh no, of course. Just to build on that, let's see if I didn't forget my idea. Yeah, the branding of French conversations, and I'm sure I'm sure that by now Isabel will agree with me, even though at the beginning she wasn't so much. She was a little reluctant. But I've shown that now she does. So the branding of it, the experience of it, is that the teacher, so the person who has the skills, the person who will, unfortunately, who will have this dirty job of pointing out the improvements to you, right? Over and over and over again, sometimes, right? So that person, yes, they do have the skills. However, I think they are also students. They are also students in the classroom. And that's a notion I learned from Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, that in order to learn, the best way to learn is actually to teach. So that's also, it even supports what I'm saying right now. So there's always something to learn in every interaction, and I don't want the type of experience that you get in a French school, like high school, that you have a teacher on one side, you have 30 kids, or maybe sometimes 45 kids. And yes, it sometimes works. I've been to boarding school, and the education is of high quality. But it's not what we're providing. We're providing this experience of, it's a journey where we're together to become better persons, and we happen to learn French almost automatically.
Right. Well, and truth be told, in whatever the scenario is, where you have a student and you have a teacher, okay, and if that teacher is the expert on this subject greater than anyone else on the planet who's ever lived, okay, and then this student is very new and fresh and has to, learn it all from scratch.
Right.
Even in that scenario, the teacher can still learn from the student how to be a better teacher, because every student
Exactly.
is different.
Yes.
So if that's the very basic part, there's still a lot of other things
Right.
that a teacher can learn, but at least no matter how much information I possess, every single person, just like a parent with the different kids that we talked about, every kid is different, and how you raise them is different.
So I've had an English teacher in my workshop at the beginning, a young English person, or I think, yeah, no, he was American, sorry, and he was a very brilliant person, and the group was great, but I was anxious, and I was doing a little bit of this, I know it all teacher, and there were 8 of them or something, 7, so the format was a failure. All right, even though all of the folks were great in that session, all of them, there isn't one person who wasn't great in the entire Alt French workshop, including the person who's in denial, who's a great person.
Right.
So I accept her the way she is. Uh, but this uh, American student teacher, he teaches English, and he is fluent in Spanish and advanced in French.
Oh, wow.
He pointed out something like the word namaste, which I think, if I recall, means kind of like I was there before, or what does it mean? Like be
It's it,
well.
it it's namaste. I'd have to look it up. I mean, it's one of those words. It's not deja vu, but um
So they say greetings to you, but that's not it.
it's not like a namaste. So the word, it takes a forms. It's
I bow to you. Okay, whatever. So I don't remember who told me this. So I think my life coach, if you hear me too, great life coach that I took a year ago. Uh, and I don't know, he pointed out some type of significance that, um, you know, basically the idea is you were there before them, which doesn't make you better than them. It just makes you more advanced. You were there before. So it's this idea that you don't have any merit, you know.
right.
Um, and it's humbling. It's humbling. And so, yeah, you were there before, but you're still on your own journey, and you still can discover more. Even if you think, and that's your brain tricking with you, that's the confirmation bias. You think that you know it all because you've took that path every day for the past 2 years to go to work, so you know exactly how it looks like. Well, the monks will tell you, try and find something, some little detail, discover a new little rock every day.
Well, I mean, you look at how the world moves forward, and there's certain things that we as a human race continue to repeat again and again, right? And some things we make even worse. But then there's other things where if everyone just went off of what had happened before, like this is what there is and that's it, then we wouldn't have Uber, right? Uber was someone who decided, I see things in a different way. It doesn't have to be like this. We can do it like this instead.
Right.
And it's all new and it's all different.
It's just genius.
And
Yeah.
to even have internet, all that kind of stuff is where somebody didn't just accept the
Right.
world and all of its expertise and just
And exactly.
but
And
they build on it.
just like we are on this journey with this project, I think that at every level of of the French conversation experience, you need to be on that mindset. of that, you know, the right or wrong is not important. And actually, you should allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from them. Right? This it's important
You
to
can't really, in my opinion anyway, I don't think you can really collaborate if you're determined not to make any mistakes or to not let anyone see your mistakes. Collaboration requires a certain amount of trust, and it's about and an understanding that some of it comes from you, some of it comes from me, and then like by me being wrong about this, but it still might give you the idea to do this up, try this way, and so forth. That's what collaboration is.
right. So just what I want to point out to you is that I don't want French conversations to be, an experience where you have the teacher who knows it all and the students in quantity who have to absorb the knowledge from them. It's a journey together, and there's maybe a 50% coaching, and there's also this dimension of accepting the learners that they are on their own journey, and accepting that, like, so I think that Isabel would agree with that, because she says that it requires a lot of patience, and she knows it much better than me. She's been a teacher for, I don't know, 15 or 20 years, and her track record speaks for itself when you look at all her, you know, former students who are completely fluent.
Well, and that's where people come into it knowing that this is about an experience, and it isn't just
Right.
sit here and listen to Rafa. Like, as it's more being a guide than being a teacher. Like
Yes.
I will help
And
you
I,
navigate through
and
certain.
it's tailored. There's a lot of acceptance in it. There's a lot of, we accept the way you are and what you want to do with it. you know so there might be different types of sessions at some point, like maybe for those who really want, the DELF exam prep, kind of like a short, that's a product, but um, we'll never get angry because you make a mistake. Never.
Right.
Never. We'll never get angry. If you get angry, if you as a coach, you get angry because someone makes a mistake, even though it's the same mistake, you're not delivering that experience to yourself, because that's we want you to enjoy it. I
Well,
want to enjoy it. It's not just that I'm going to bow, to somebody who disagrees with me. It's like a conversation. You come as you are, Michael Jackson would say, and you have this experience, and in small group you have a lot of exposure, and yes, you have someone with skills who's a coach, but you get as much as you put in. That's why that's I'm taking ideas from Seth Godin. He created that workshop, the Art MBA, and you pay a high price for it, but everybody will tell you it's worth it. Why? Because of the quality of the folks. Also, that's important, and because you
well,
surround yourself.
it's a method that ends up, as opposed to it just being about I'm going to educate you on the French language. It's your 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 format, the structure of French conversations isn't to say I'm going to educate you on the French language and vocabulary. It's I am going to empower you to
Right.
converse in French.
Right.
So you feel empowered, because when you feel empowered, you don't necessarily mind the mistakes because you don't define them by that. It's just like, I'm going to walk into a room. Yes, I might not know all the words, but I might know this or that. You talk to the person, and that I'm going to continue to grow. Because when you're empowered, you're like, the idea is that I will continue to have these conversations and over time become more and more fluent. That it's not a question of a vocabulary exam where there's, okay, what are these 10 words in French mean? And then you get those words right. And then, okay, so this shows I got 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100.
Right.
Now I am fluent in French, like that idea of it, but it's that whole thing of like, can you communicate ideas? Can you share an experience that's happening? Yeah. And I know that from when I was in Puerto Rico, when I was trying to learn Spanish. I remember that I couldn't find I didn't know how to ask people where does the line begin when I went to the cafeteria. That line was just it was a big mess. It was I even said I never understood what was happening. So I had to go off campus, off the school grounds. I wasn't supposed to, but I went. I left the school, found this like hot dog stand, and went to get my lunch. And I looked in the dictionary for what was hot dog, and it says perro caliente, which is
Right.
dog hot, right? But that's what it said in the book. So I go to the guy and I said, uno perro caliente. And he's like, what? And the more I kept repeating it, the more agitated he became. And it was just like, all I kept saying was, perro caliente, perro caliente. And then I was pointing, but I don't think he didn't know. For all I know, maybe he was asking me how many what was I pointing at? Because he had other stuff there than just the hot dogs. He didn't understand. So, of course, I got embarrassed because, like we say, learning a new language, the exposure, right? So I left. I didn't have lunch. I was so upset anyway. I didn't want to eat. I got home and I asked my mother. I told her, I said, I don't understand. I said, perro caliente, whatever. And she keeps laughing and laughing. I don't understand. She said, well, in Puerto Rico, no one says perro caliente. They don't even know what you mean by that. So what am I supposed to say? She said, oh, you go, un hot dog. Apparently, for Puerto Ricans, they don't even know the Spanish word for perro, right, for hot dog. Everyone says un hot dog, un hamburgues instead of like a hamburger, whatever. So that kind of thing. But in French conversations, those kind of things, those real world tricky things, people get to really absorb.
So you're right.
The culture isn't in a textbook. The culture is through a conversation.
That's another dimension, right? That we want you. We're looking at original content, especially with the Rubies. So French podcasts for French natives, and that have really intriguing universe. So Luda suggested one. A podcast about psychology. It is not tailored for any type of French foreigner. It's for French people. And a series that's very popular called My Agent, and all that vocabulary in that series you will not find in books, I guarantee you. So it's that idea that, so this is important. So yeah, learning real French, right? Accepting of each and everyone's journey, including the coach, is in a journey. If they are not aware of it, wake up, guys.
Exactly.
You don't. You're not God, and you also are on a learning journey. But I'm comparing, what would be the old school of learning by the book. So you don't get that vocabulary. Like you're saying hot dog, perro caliente, but in Puerto Rico they don't say like that. They say maybe like this in Spain, and who knows if it hasn't changed. But I'm offering, almost best chances of success because of the exposure for people only, not more, per group, with a skilled French coach who's also on the journey. And I'm offering growth and motivation. And that's, I want to be blunt. I want to be French here. I'm saying it. Key. It's fucking key, guys. Because if you don't have the motivation, if it's not about you, you can easily fall asleep at the end of the class, even though you don't know what you're missing on. Even though you're failing on yourself, even though you don't realize that you have something to offer. So I'm offering growth here. I'm offering growth. That's what I want. I want that platform to offer growth, not only to the members, but to the coaches, including myself. Well, and that's how I've been living it so far.
When it comes to motivation, let's say if somebody's going to go ahead and work out, right? I want to either lose weight, gain muscle, whatever. But we'll just say if I'm trying to lose weight, I need to be motivated, and my motivation might be, because I want to be able to fit into this outfit for this wedding, blah, blah. So I want to lose however many pounds.
Right.
Now, so with anything in life, but the easiest example is when someone's working out, is that as they're doing all this exercising and the cardio and doing that, they go on the scale to see what they weigh, how much am I losing.
Right.
So imagine then if someone is taking a class and they're motivated because I want to become fluent. So in working out, you have the scale, but when learning a language, you have most of the time these exams that you take a test to see how much you know the vocabulary and all of that. And what drew me the most to your stuff, because, when you refer to me, before I meet with anybody, I have to go ahead and look and see, like, well, what are they actually doing? What is it that they're offering? What's the service here, right? And then I was looking at all the stuff. And that's why when we met, you saw how, like, I was so enthusiastic. But it's because I understand that it's not necessarily, it's not for everybody, but some people want their motivation, just like you get on the scale. For some people, it's, how did I do on this vocabulary exam? And I feel that they end up sometimes very disillusioned when I took this class.
That's a recipe for failure. My God, I keep on
then
repeating.
They go
focus on the process and the learning. What can you learn from it?
Well,
it doesn't let go of the result. So hold on, I just need to correct myself. I am not offering anything. I'm not the one offering. We are collaborating for growth within our group, with each other, with a generous feedback, with and it happens, and I have that, and we happen to have the skills in French. All right, it's not just that we're improvising,
Right.
Isabel, in I don't know what year, you can look at my resume.
But
I can show you my best accomplishment in French, like an essay in philosophy. It's and also I used to suck, to be honest. I used to suck, even though my mom was a French teacher. I used to suck. Let's be honest. And well, yeah.
But how if you always spoke French? Didn't you grow
because I was doing lots of misspelling in the grammar and all of that. But that was also a motivation for me, and I didn't wait, to launch French conversations to bridge that gap. I went to boarding school, I took classes, but to be honest, French conversation reinforced that in me. So yeah.
And in that, think about that collaboration and the having these conversations with people and sharing and getting your experience in these small groups. That is the difference between. That's where motivation gets to live. That's where it gets to last. Because if all you're doing is textbook and vocabulary, it's very, very hard to stay motivated.
My God.
When you're
boring
in this
as hell.
Yeah. So it's like the people who do the CrossFit, right? Like I remember, even now, the group of friends I have, they're in this CrossFit class. Then it's this community where the group that I work out with now, one guy brings all the equipment. He brings the weights. He brings the sandbag, the giant tire. He has all of that equipment. And the other one comes with the whole list of we could do this exercise. And then you just have, everybody brings their own different talents, skills, but everybody comes with the enthusiasm, right? So if I show up on a day where I'm just feeling not so into it, but they have all that energy, that's what that sense of community, that collaboration, it elevates everybody.
So to your point, Achilles, motivation is you pronounced it. That's the key word. So in terms of marketing, just put the Alt French workshop in the garbage. I mean, that actually, it's not in the garbage. It's actually, French conversations online and the Alt French workshop. It's just, I didn't know how to call it, so it's just the same whole thing. And underneath, what do you have? Lots of small groups. All right. Right now, you don't have so many of them, but you do have a few.
Well, when you say groups, so there's the Jedis,
right?
Then you have the three levels, right? The baby warriors, the diamonds, and the rubies.
So groups go by level because
Right.
we're learning French, but they also go by motivation. All right, and it's almost à la carte, right? Um, it's not a it's like you have a menu, you can choose what so the idea of the outfront workshop is it's intense. All right, so if you do a lot, it's you're immersed. That's the main idea. The casual Saturday, I mean it's fine too. I like it too. It's almost like there's a matrix, and but if we only talk about the alt French, right, the immersion one,
Right.
then underneath that you've got lots of groups per level, but also per motivation center. Like Isabel says it, in her experience, her sessions have always almost been a small group of friends, almost like friends. All right, so there's a matching there, and we're all growing together, and it happens to be in French because through immersion the results will show. Even if you do, just by showing up you will learn. Just by being in France you will learn. You don't need French conversations if you're in French, unless you want to accelerate it, etc. But immersion will do its job. It's like time or
then
water.
we'll
Be
say,
water, my friend.
well, so let's say, for example, somebody brand new, right? They're coming into this whole world, right? Then the first door says French conversations or French conversations alt workshop.
So, it still makes sense. The upfront workshop is since there's a coach that has some skills that is giving her their time, and that is a recipe that will work. Because if you're learning alone, you don't have someone who corrects you all the time. Yes, you can have a tutor, but you don't have the experience with others here. You're going to be with others, and you learn from that. It's not just a taking. You also give. You give your generous feedback to others, including to your coach.
So then
So it's an experience. We discuss about themes. For example, we've been listening to Clotilde Dussolier's podcast, Change My Life. And there's so much to unpack from there. And you could, it would be, she has comments from people who are 55 years old. And literally they comment, they review her work, and they say, I'm 55 or I'm 65 or whatever. Thank you. You've changed my life.
Okay. Let me ask you this question then, because it never even occurred to me until now. But can someone experience French conversations by themselves, or just on the one-on-one with you? Is that an option for someone? If they say, I like a tutor, like I just want a one-on-one sessions with you, and that's it. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I don't want to be or is everybody who's in French conversations, are they in a group? Is that just that's the way that it works? That's my question.
I mean, technically speaking, I'm not giving one-on-one sessions.
It makes it much easier if it's just a question of like, just so people understand that the way this works is that everybody's in a group.
And the problem with that, I would tell you, is that the one-on-one creates the illusion that there is a giver and a taker, just like you and me right now. There is this illusion that I hate that creeps sometimes in my mind and is saying, I am the taker and you're the giver. But no, that's an illusion. We are both the two sides.
Yes.
We're both the two sides.
Yes. With collaboration, there isn't there isn't a leader. There is just the what leads in a collaboration is the
Right.
idea of creating the best product. That's the leader. Like, how
Right.
do we go ahead and just create the best product? So, like, if it's somebody doing a movie, it's not the main actor or the producer or the director or the screenwriter. Nobody's the leader. It's all of us are committed to making the best movie we can make, right?
And if this becomes successful at some point, meaning a lot of people are interested in that product, kind of like that experience, I would say it would be important to have a moment of shuffling, like shuffle people per level, like you're the same level and you shuffle them until there's some type of matching. And that could also be done through the content that we use, because
Well,
we
I
are
mean,
using content.
or it would be
So,
a mixer. They call that a mixer. Like, oh, so just for this week, we're going to mix the people up a little bit so you can just.
right. So kind of like when you just arrive to a school, you can test different classes. Oh, which one do I like best? Not only in terms of what's on the menu. Are we going to do Change My Life? Are we going to do Call My Agent? Are we going to do a little bit of preparation to the DELF exam and mythology and how to do that? Are we going to listen to that a podcast with this amazing universe? Or are we going to do a little bit more of textbook? Because I wouldn't deny that's important too. Doing some textbook is also important for building, the grammar rules. You need at some point. I'm not against, I mean, I also, so that's the whole point. Isabel will target, perfect French. You if you go through her teachings, uh, you will get to high level of French, very, very high, almost fluent, almost native. So it's a pleasure to to do a lesson to the baby wires after she's been working for several months, because yeah, you don't need to correct some mistakes. But so I would say that still, that is important. We're not, you know, just having fun, and we're teaching also. Teaching is important, Isabel would say, meaning we will tell you when you make a mistake. All right? We're not here just to please. We're also to tell, and it's up to you then to, but not to the point that we get to that imbalance where there is Mr. Know Everything, know it all, who
Well,
doesn't learn.
you do some of if someone makes a mistake, in terms of correcting them, but never to the point that you are compromising the person's experience of
Right.
practicing French. Like, you guys, I'm sure, have that balance. Like, this is try to say it this way, so as long as it leaves them feeling empowered, because we all have. I mean, most of us have that friend that whenever you're trying to tell them a story, they're so busy correcting you. Like, or I see a lot of married couples do this all the time, where one person's trying to tell the story and the other one's like, no, it was actually on a Thursday, or actually, no, we only paid $10. Like, they're correcting details that totally rob the person who's trying to tell the story from sharing
Right.
emotion of what it was that had happened.
Right. So in the collaboration, what is very, very important for folks to keep in mind is their feedback is also key. Like, because I will correct you, today and yesterday. And if you have felt that, that was too much, that was not helping you, I think that's also important that you tell me. And that's also why I created that casual Saturday, where, like, my focus in casual Saturday is to actually do what I should always do and improve at, which is listening and trying to really understand what you're saying and completely discard whatever mistake in terms of grammar, or whatever you might be doing. I am not interested at all. Zero. I'm just trying to have like a casual conversation in that one. But in the week ones, the sessions during the week, the 2 sessions during the week, I think that some interrupting is necessary. Is necessary, and there's a fine line there to be tuned that requires everybody's collaboration. Your feedback is important for that, not to fall in the trap of you're not having a good experience anymore. All right.
So would you
And secondly, motivation. At least that that motivation and consistency needs to be built. And sometimes we need to adapt. We have to have backstops. Oh, your mood is down, your mood is up. That's why we do this a little bit at the beginning. How do you feel? How was your day? And what do you want to do? It's almost I adapt. Um, there's more flexibility rather than Isabel, and that makes more sense when you're beginning.
Right.
She has a direction at the beginning that is more straight, which makes more sense. You need to level up. You need to be very good in the basics before you start the more difficult. All right. For example, present tense first. You don't go to past tense until some is consolidation is being made here. So it is something that is needs a lot of tuning and needs skilled coach that not only have the French skills but have also the growth skills.
The growth skills and being able to and it is a different skill set than if when you're not doing the one-on-one, but when you're handling a group and being able to make sure that collaboration with everybody is elevating everyone at the same time. There's a certain skill set that requires too. It's hard to come by, and that's
that's why I was wording it like it's a French. It's a worship where you learn French, but your motivation is at the center of everything we do.
right, right. And so, do you think then, like with the original idea of like with the website, where it was Jedi's and Alt French Workshop and Casual Saturdays, that if those were like the three main things, but do you think perhaps it's more the groups and then the live sessions?
I think that still stand. I was just in the emotion. I think that some folks just want, they already have some type of level in French, and they just enjoy the experience without the interrupting, etc. So casual Saturdays, that's great. The Jedi is basically a coach who is giving some of their time for free to people who really deserve it. And the Alt French are people who are on a journey of improving their French, and they want a lot of exposure. They want a skilled coach, highly motivated, and they want a good, enjoyable experience where their
And
motivation
I
and
guess
their growth
somewhat
is at the center.
the Alt French Workshop, it offers for lack of a better word, offers a more traditional type learning format than the Jedi's, or no?
So there's the same spirit. It's just that there is a dimension of traditional. Yeah, casual is just
Do
casual.
Jedi's get workbooks and stuff like that?
Uh Actually, yes, if they want to. It's the
Okay.
same spirit as Alt French. It's just I'm giving away an hour for free, plus I will review your work. All right, if you complete the 5 feedback. So
Right.
it's more than an hour. It's an hour live for free, and whatever time is required to give you all of my tips about giving you a feedback.
Okay.
So actually, Alt French and Jedi, it's actually Jedi is almost like the Alt French, but you don't need to pay. You need to prove yourself to win. because my time is limited, I cannot just give it away for free. So,
Okay, so then let me ask you a question. As let's
but
say,
it's the same. Jedi is like a group in the Alt French. All right. If you
if
are consistent and you're a winner every month, you don't have the money to pay for the Alt French. You're still getting an Alt French level type of experience. All right. It's
okay,
not a casual Saturday. I'm going to put the growth dimension in it. I'm going to put the vocabulary dimension in it. I'm going to put whatever you choose, actually. So it's the same spirit.
okay,
Motivation is at the center.
but then here's the thing. So then this is me, right? A possible member, client, customer, whatever you want to call it. My question then becomes, so what am I getting in the alt French workshop, because I'm paying, that people, the Jedi's are not getting? What
Right.
what am I paying for?
That's very easy to answer. All
Okay.
right.
What is
You're
that?
getting a guaranteed seat in a guaranteed group. All right.
Okay.
Because in the Jedi's, you don't know who is going to win. It can change. Maybe it's not a big deal. Instead of 1 hour plus one of your topics of your work being corrected, one live session and one of your work, you're getting 3 hours during the week of sessions, plus you are entitled to join the casual Saturday, an hour and 15, plus you are entitled to join the Sunday live, an hour and 15. So 3, 4, 5 hours and a half, plus, so not only 1 hour, plus unlimited homework. Whatever homework you do, I'll review it. I'll give you my feedback systematically.
And with the Jedi's, they get how much?
Only one homework.
Only one homework a week or a
Yeah,
month?
a week.
Okay.
It's a weekly challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. And right.
So
And it's only for people for the Jedi's. It's not unlimited. All right. But that's a good question, actually.
let me tell you, it's a question that everyone in the alt French workshop that they're going to be asking. I guarantee you. So it's important to know is that, like, in the alt French workshop, you could have 2, 20, 300 people in those classes, right? Like however much the student body. But the Jedi's will always be no more than 4 people a week. Correct?
Well, as per me as a coach, yeah. As per Isabel, it's 0. So there's just not the option. You
Right.
know?
So,
as per a new coach who wants there, probably it's 0.
all right. So,
right? Because who wants to give their time for free?
But then with
someone
the Jedi,
who's very ambitious.
all right. So with the Jedi's, they say, it says lifetime membership. So if I'm a Jedi with a lifetime membership, doesn't that mean that every week I get to be in the meetings? Or do I have to do
No.
5 action steps every
Oh
single
yeah, it's a weekly challenge, actually. It's a weekly challenge.
The weekly challenge. So if I do, so I could, let's say I do the weekly challenge this week and I'm a Jedi, and next week I do it, I'm a Jedi, because I got it in on time, right? I was the first one. And then I have a baby, I'm gone for 5 months, I can come back, I do the weekly challenge, and if I get it in on time, then I can be a Jedi.
Yeah.
For that week. I get to participate in the Jedi stuff, but it's something it's always.
It's a big difference, at least, between 1 hour per week, and we're talking about 5 hours and a half. All right, that's a big difference. Plus, the difference is limited homework here, reviewed. It's 1 to 6. That's the difference. And this also, you are guaranteed here. Here, you're not guaranteed. If I decide to stop it, the Jedi's, I can. Because at some point, I don't know. For now, I'm happy. I'm happy to do it.
Is there anything where
I'm not, if nobody, I've been very indulgent, but at some point, if they don't complete the 5 actions, I'm sorry, it's not just free. You have to be motivated.
Oh yeah, so I understand. So now let me ask this.
Whereas in the out French, if you don't do any homework, it's up to you, because you get as much as you take from. Actually, as you get as much as you give, because when you're giving, you receive. You receive what? Feedback. If I post my homework, that's me giving. What do I receive?
Right. The
People
homework
will
is
show me.
the
If I
homework is
let myself to be seen,
it's your investment. The homework is your investment.
right?
So
It's an investment. It has two faces. It's costly, but it has returns.
Yes. So if you're not going to invest, then you're not going to get any returns. It's as simple as that. Sure.
Right.
I get that. So the Jedi's, because it's
and also I didn't talk about that, but I'm also thinking in terms of scholarship at this point, because if in a group of 4, I can have a scholar from someone who kind of like mixing, like this idea of giving equal access to folks who are, for example, in developing countries. Because the requirements for you to do the Alt French workshop is not how much money you have. It's, the understanding of, that you're willing, that you're giving, all of that. So I want to promote that. So I'm thinking for me, not for all coaches, but maybe, one person is not paying, the same amount as others. And I'm also thinking that people can pay more. And the rich always understand that. The rich always understand the value of education, and I'm a little bit disappointed that the ones who are not don't understand. So they are more than happy to pay, not only because they can afford. That's not the point, but because they know that it is an investment, that they will have returns. So just like any type of, regardless of rich or poor, within these populations, what I'm targeting is people who are highly motivated. I keep on saying that. This motivation is key if you want to do the Alt French. And so,
so I think,
having this experience, for example, with this, sorry, I cut you off, man. I just want to finish. Having this experience with a person who, is in denial and is saying, I thought it was free.
Yeah.
Or I've had other experience of people who just, take it. I had one person who just took advantage of the 2 free sessions, and they paid, and then right after they just, for no reason, for no apparent reason, they just, maybe they had some reasons. I can give them that. Maybe that's fine. But still, the behavior is still kind of fishy. So the point is, the people from the Alt MBA, they make it very high, a very high price. And if you go to any quality school, they will make it a high price because they know it has value. And I'm 100% sure that this has value at this point. And I think that I'm selling myself short.
Yes.
And I think that, so that's the first point. And second point, I think that also to attract those who already have the right mindset, I need to jack up the price. And I'm not talking about the existing members.
No,
So
I understand.
If they hear that, it's it's not a problem.
Well, no, listen.
And there are very few of them. So
I think that I think that the price should increase for new business that comes in, right? I do believe it should increase, and I think in order.
And then there's loyalty program for those who stay. They get this loyalty.
But I think that the product needs to look more expensive. That was the whole website, is that it just has to look more expensive.
Right. But it has value regardless of how it looks.
Okay,
So,
okay,
and I want to target those who are already convinced, because I made the mistake of trying to convince those who are not. That's a huge mistake on my end.
well,
Are you still here? Yeah.
Yes.
Because you froze. You froze. I'm no longer interested at all in convincing those who are not interested, who need convincing. On the other hand, I am interested in having scholarship for those who are who deserve.
Okay.
And also to promote equal access, for allowing other coaches to use the resources as well.
Okay.
And to provide the same type of experience.
Sorry. Yes. Listen, I do understand.
This is a breakthrough, my friend.
But what
no longer interested. You know, at some point.
Rafa, listen, just listen. Okay. You and I, what we agree that the product, okay, that the product has a lot of value. Okay.
And it's never guaranteed. I mean, it's never, it's ongoing. You have to, you know, it's not just like, I don't like to be presumptuous and all of that, you know. I know that to continue delivering product, it takes effort.
Rafa.
It takes effort. It's never guaranteed. I'm just saying that because it's not like chocolate. Even people who are cooks and all of that, they need to put in the work for the quality to still be there. Sorry, I cut you off.
Okay, now that you said all that, I need you to let me finish, because you're not even letting me make my point here. Okay. as a collaboration communicator, whatever. Listen, because you are not understanding the point that I'm making. Okay. That's why. Because everything you're saying, yes, it makes all the sense in the world. I get that. And we agree that the product, the experience that people are having when they're coming into whatever the product, the value of that is great. Sure. Where I think your business is, the area in which I think your business is failing,
right,
is when someone is looking to learn French.
Oh yeah.
But somebody who already has a lot of the motivation. Okay. Right. You say those are the ones you want, but this person, if let's say I wanted to learn French, I suppose, sure. If I wanted to learn French and I came across the product, the way that it looks and the way that it's set up, to me, I would say, well, I'm very motivated. And if I'm going to invest my time, if I'm going to go ahead and sign up for this, whether it's the Jedi's or the Alt French workshop, whatever, if I'm going to do that, I need to make sure that I'm doing something that's going to be very clear and that it looks like it's going to be something that's quality.
It's at this stage, it's very laboratory. It's like a lab.
It's a little.
And now I'm getting to that phase that I'm finally, thanks to your help, able to lay it out.
And it doesn't. And it is it fair? Probably not. But the reality is, some people will base
most people
joining French conversations on the fact that they're like, I'm just going to read the testimonials. I'm going to look and see what they have. And that's good enough. Some people are going to base it off of just how well the website looks. The thing I told you about a logo, for some people, that makes a difference. And other people,
look, I completely agree with you. And that was kind of intentional at the beginning. I don't know if I'm being dishonest with myself, but you know, I was still in French lab mode, and I didn't need a lot. You know, I didn't need a lot of growth, and I've made a lot of mistakes. You know, like the session with 7, we already talked about that in a previous session.
Right. But you're when I say stuff like the website, I mean, of course, you know how nice it looks and the logo, yeah. But when I say website, I'm saying people don't want to listen to you. They want to see people who have actually.
All right, that's why we're working.
Yeah, and they want to see the video. They want to see the testimonials. They want to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you have some amazing video content that goes on Facebook. When you do those Facebook lives and you're talking to the other person and there's laughing, there's sharing, that stuff is fantastic. and when you go on YouTube, you don't necessarily see that much of that stuff being marketed the right way.
Right.
But
That's
that's
a
the kind of
disaster.
that's somebody who's really, really motivated. That's what they're going to want to see. They're going to want to see other people who are really motivated. And it's not, and unless they see that very clearly up front, that person might not be willing to invest. The same way that you're like, I can tell you went crazy because you were saying, I'm tired of investing in these people who aren't really committed to doing the work. Right. So you don't want people who aren't going to do the work.
No. That's not actually.
That aren't motivated. You wanted people who are motivated.
Right. There's a fine line. I accept the people the way they are, but yeah, at the entrance, that you're motivated, and that the recipe for success is actually to show up. You don't even need to do homework; it's up to you. But showing up is almost a prerequisite, in your
Right.
mind. If you're not showing up, you shouldn't do this. Take a tutor, have it tailored whenever you want. It's cheaper. Go on videos, you could, there's lots of other ways to do it. All right. It's a different experience, and there's also success there. But here, this is like a monthly intense immersion and commitment, like showing up. But what I was saying is something different. What I was saying is I'm tired of, in the sales aspect of it, trying to convince people to do something for themselves in French and having to pay for it.
It's a very easy example is if somebody goes on a date, right? Like, I shouldn't have to convince someone that I'm a good guy. Here I am, we're on the date, we're talking, we're chatting, whatever. That if you don't see the quality in how I'm presenting it, then I'm not going to like try to sit there. So please let me convince you that I'm this.
Right. I want to sell to those who are already convinced. And obviously I need to pitch them so that they understand what the product is, but it's just going to match with them. And they are already like this. I don't need to change them. And until now, I was like, it's free. But no, it's not free. Nothing is free.
Nothing is, and you don't have to pitch. You just have to present, right? There just has to be this presentation. If they see it, they should be able to find all the answers and see video content of you talking, people talking.
Achilles, also, that's why I think I did a terrible job with the website and marketing, because I knew deep inside that, first of all, I didn't need a lot for the lab. First, experiment, learn, and then lay out, and then grow if the recipe is good. I was in that phase, first reason. But second, I don't want to attract, I don't want to convince. I want to choose you. In this first phase, I'm choosing you. I'm so happy that you are part of it. I see something in you. All right. And
okay, so then what happens? You know what that reminds me of? Of when I worked at the bar. I worked at that bar for 20 years. And I saw again and again what's different about a gay bar than a straight bar is that in the straight bar, the men approach the women, right? If a woman goes around talking to men, it can look very, there could be a lot of misinterpretation there, sure. So, but in a gay bar, because no one has to be the person to approach, you know what almost all of them do? They stand against the wall, they wait for someone to come to them, right? Very passive. And some of the best guys that I know would, because they knew I used to be that way before working at a bar. It's like, I'm such a good person. I'll be such a good boyfriend. I'm such a whatever. Like, you're so convinced of who you are and how good of a person you're going to be. You don't think you have to go and talk to people because someone's going to somehow, I don't know, magically come over and come to me because I feel like I have so much to offer. Now, the people who you know, pardon my French, but the assholes, let me tell you, they knew that no one was going to be drawn to their being genuine and their niceness. Those were the guys who were going around talking to people. And when they got rejected, they didn't care. Why? Because they weren't even being genuine. It's when you're being genuine and you get rejected that it's really, really hard to take. So in your case, you're like, in the beginning, I understood. It's like, his product is really, really good. And it's so good, in fact, that he thinks that it can kind of like sell itself and market itself once people see what it is. But there is a certain amount of territory. There is a certain amount of traveling that the person has to do in order to experience that product. And how does it be? It can be just as simple as them seeing the video of somebody who's like, "Oh my God, I just saw this thing. It was so great." Blah blah blah. What it's for, and that's all it takes. I have a client that their product is phenomenal, and they were so convinced that all they kept saying is like, "Oh my God, I don't know how anybody wouldn't do this. I don't know how anybody wouldn't do this," but nobody wanted. Who's gonna trust that? It's your product. You're gonna make money off of me if I buy it. So they didn't trust. It wasn't until very slowly people started using the product and loving it, and then they started telling people, "Oh my God, I just bought this thing from so and so." Then it slowly started to grow that way, right? Yeah. And it's funny because he was like, "I've been telling people." I was like, and I had to say, "Listen, nobody wants to hear it from you. Why? Because it's your product. Just because you're telling the truth doesn't necessarily mean people will automatically believe it." But all the other people, when the testimonials started happening, testimonials are the key to people at least having the curiosity to check something.
Right. And about growth, I'm not in the game of like, especially with French conversations, I'm not in the game of, conquering the world.
Right.
That's not my game. I'm in the game of giving. I'm giving and empowering, as you said. And I know most Americans, they don't like that expression, in a win-win situation.
They always like that term because it makes them feel like they're winning, sure.
But then it truly, genuinely, like, in my mind, it's completely absurd, that you want to minimize the money you give to someone, especially if they provide a huge value to you. It should be the opposite. So, it's not greed that is motivating me here. Not like, I see 10 or 100 coaches having 4 people and taking a cut on them, or all of that. It's more creating something new that works, and being able to spread that idea. And yes, if my contribution is valuable, yes, I'm going to get a retribution out of it. That's normal. And so, but I'm actually not falling in that trap of I will conquer the world, of I will be the number one school online, even if it might end up being that. That's not my goal. It's easy to fall in that trap, and then you end up not doing something that is actually worth.
No, you have a very specific vision for the service, for the opportunity, the experience that you're trying to provide. That's very clear, and it's also very.
And it includes. Sorry, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, but the thing is that it incorporates very much who you are. Okay. And of course, Isabel and the other coaches, because I think you're the type that would embrace whatever, other people want to bring into the pot, the collaboration.
Exactly.
Right. But it's very true to who you are. And I think when you're in that lane, when you are doing something that's true to you, then it's not about being the best, this and that, whatever. Like, you're automatically being the best version of you, and and providing something that there isn't out. There's nothing else out there like that. And I think that's what whenever someone's trying to do something career-wise, business, whatever, What are you giving that no one else is? That's what you really want to have. You're not trying to copy somebody else away.
Right, and then discovering something that works, that's also fascinating, and spreading it, and giving a tool. I like creating tools. That's a great thing. Like, you create a tool, a new tool. I mean, I don't know if we're chimpanzees, we descend from them, but if I create a new tool, you know what that is? Like, to message my
oh yes, of course. You don't have hair.
The person who invented this did me a favor, and I'm paying it gladly. And there's a person who produces it, and there's a person who had the idea at the beginning, and yes, they get a little royalty. And sometimes they don't. But
no, there are stories where people didn't have the confidence in what they created. There's a certain thing that people use for dogs to take the hair off, a certain kind of brush. And he sold his idea for $5,000. And the guy who bought it has made millions and millions and millions. And
so I don't know if we can patent whatever we're doing here. I don't think we can.
Well, this is where, for example, like I would say,
I didn't make you sign an NDA, by the way.
you don't have to patent something.
And I'm probably going to publish this video, so.
But if you've created something that is very genuine to your voice, then it's already patented. You can't copy somebody else's authenticity. And so much of French Conversations is because of the way it's your vision and how you see it. If someone said, "Oh, we love what that guy has, let's do it over here," and so somebody said about my business. They said, "Oh my God, what if somebody tries to steal your idea?" I said, if someone thinks they can find another Achilles, then by all means, go for it. I would love to see you find another one so I can marry him. That'd be great. But I'm not interested. So I think that the product is always so great. My goal for you is to package what you are creating in a way that makes it very easy for your members to share it. Not for you to show people, but for when someone is like, "Oh my God, I took this thing," and they go back to their day job, their office, and they're talking to their family, like, "Oh really?" They're like, "Yeah, look at this thing." Just like people share crazy videos on YouTube and TikTok and all that, I want them to be able to share. Yeah, this class is great. Look at this. Look at what they said here. Look at what they're showing here.
I'm thinking about Shambi right now and how I failed her.
Oh my God. Well, Shambi.
Shambi, if you hear us, please give me a second chance.
To be able to share it, you want the people who are in French Conversations to be the ones marketing your stuff, because they love it so much and because they want other people to join them in that experience. And it has to be easy. It should be just one link. It should just be, look at this video, and not be difficult. That's my goal for you.
I'm very grateful for your second chance and for all the value, the marketing. I'm sure we're going to do a good job. I mean, it might take a few iterations. I think we did a great job today. If you allow me to do it, I might share this video, just
share the video. It'd be good to hear other people's input and their insight.
Publicly, are you okay for publicly? Sure. On Facebook.
Yeah, the only person we mentioned.
No, I'm not forcing you. It's just I'm.
No. I'm telling you, anything that we do, I would have worn a better hoodie. That's the only thing.
Your hoodie is great. What are you talking about?
But it's
I love your hoodie.
Yeah, it's
Canada is such an amazing place.
And they speak French there. I didn't even think that.
They do speak French. So Canadian people, we'd love to see you. You can even join in our limited groups right now.
Yeah. So I think that this is it is a good thing. So now, to make sure, the French Conversations online, can we now just call it French Conversations? Yeah. Because if you use that domain, it's just French, which I think is great. I would love that. It makes it so
.org.
Yeah, but I'm saying, as far as the name of it, French Conversations. And I was like,
that's my wife. My original name was Discussion, which is kind of like fighting.
Well,
What you
the
discussed?
debate is fighting. Discussion is not fighting, but it's not casual. That's the thing. Like, and like you say, like it's a conversation that just happens to be in French. So French conversations, it
Yeah.
lends itself more to that. So
Yeah. So I think I bought that domain. That's why I mentioned it.
yeah, I think you did you buy it? I was going to say because when I clicked on it, it looked like that's where.
Yeah, I bought it yesterday or the other day, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I do have FrenchConversations.org and FrenchConversations.online, FrenchDiscussion.online, FrenchDiscussionClass.online. Anyways,
So what I am going to do then is
FrenchConversations.org. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's going to come across much stronger. And another
It's
aspect.
just I wasn't sure about the .org if it's like you need to be like a nonprofit because this is
That's
by
a good.
definition.
That's a good question. Like normally, like .com is when it's a business. .org,
Right.
I don't know. The fact that you bought
So
the domain.
I do have the Jedi's, and that's a nonprofit. So
Okay, there you go. Well, they and the God, what was I gonna say? So my goal then is to create the website format where all the information is
right,
just kind of first we just need to make sure all the information is spread out the way we want it, then we can kind of make it look nice and do this and change it around and whatever, because I think
exactly.
like we can create a ghost page, and what a ghost page is that if someone goes to the website, they won't be able to see this page, but if you send them the link, they will be able to see that page.
I mean, I really like at this stage.
But no, the ghost
I
page,
still consider myself in lab, and I'm okay with just just publish
no,
it.
but the
Just
reason,
publish the damn work. Just
no, listen,
don't be afraid of publishing a on imperfect work.
no, the reason that I'm saying it is that the ghost page is for where you would put your prices, because you don't want the prices all there for everyone.
Right. Prices are in rice. I won't publish the prices because of yeah. I'm not publishing any prices on the public website.
That's
Sorry.
my point is this, is that on that website, no one will be able to see the prices unless you send them a specific link for them to look at it, just like
Correct.
they have that link to look at it.
Yeah. They are invited.
They have to be invited.
And
Exactly.
there's also this idea of email marketing and stuff to actually be able to funnel the people who are already convincible, like already the target, not those who needs convincing.
Yes. Ain't that the truth? Right.
Yeah.
And okay, so with the website is just to figure out, because there'll be one like the calendar. Remember we had talked about that, like so people kind of see what the things are, and then
Right.
different groups. And then to break down a page to show rubies, diamonds, what's that, baby warriors, and have those things kind of displayed. So the part about why limiting the group to 4 folks is 100% beneficial. Like questions like that, what I'm going to do is when I create these pages, if it's that what has a little section, I will just send you an email saying, hey, I need you to answer this question for me, and you fill it out, and that way I can put it onto and I can use that language. That makes sense.
If you're not against it, you can also use Rice in the lounge, because I'm happy to share our progress with the folks. We're a handful of folks at this stage, so
okay, yeah.
and they have contribution. I mean, they make me a better person, literally speaking.
So then, actually,
all of them, even the ones that sometimes all of them, even the person I mentioned earlier about the experience of denial. Even her, she makes me a better person, and she's a good person.
So then in Rise, what I'll do is I'll create the topic of like the website building, whatever, and then I'll put the question in there, and you could give it. You can answer it. Other people might want to answer it. If I need certain testimonials, maybe people.
Yeah, I watch Rise all the time because I use it for right now. It's a bit of mess, but you don't see that. But yeah. Oh, you see that actually, to be honest, but
But that's
it's
part of
even more than a mess than what you think.
it's part of the process. It is a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I understand.
It's a huge mess, and it's even a bigger mess because some sections are I'm using for other stuff. But yeah,
Oh
at
yeah,
some point it will all clear out. Let's trust the process.
that's the thing. It's not. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to be on the path to where we need to be
Right. And I
going.
think you were making a lot of progress.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I don't know what one thing that I was going to suggest to you. I don't know how you would do it, but when you were talking about the grants, the scholarships and stuff like that,
Right.
I think that perhaps
So it's another version of the Jedi's, it's like
it's another version of the
like
Jedi's. I was like, but if you were to decide, okay,
you
once
still pay but less. Yeah.
once a month or something, but to find a contact person, like I needed some I was doing like a scholarship. It wasn't a scholarship, but it was like a contest, right? And I just needed a bunch of people to compete. It was for essays for fourth and fifth graders, right? And I was like, I just needed to have 3 essays. My friend was like, "Oh, what I'll do is I'll talk to this teacher who teaches fourth grade and knows a bunch of fifth graders." And they did the little contest. They all entered. I looked at the stuff. I picked the ones that I wanted. Boom, end of story. So for let's say if we were talking about a group of people or something like that, or a type in India in a certain situation, is finding that contact person where you would say, "Hey, there's this scholarship that I'm offering, this grant that'll give them a reduced price of whatever. These are the guidelines for anyone who's interested in trying to get that spot, and then they can just enter it, and then you just read what they have. You know what I'm saying? I think that might be a good way to go ahead and find people who are really motivated, interested in that particular one, and then whoever you pick, that's the person, and then maybe find a different country, a different place, and it's just it's the least amount of work for you to find someone who's really motivated. Is just you'd have to find that contact person. I don't know necessarily how you would do that, but does that make sense?
So I'm going to have to listen to the video because I'm getting like it's been a tough day. I'm getting a little tired, but I think I'm very interested in what you're saying, and
If it was
also that
like somebody was at a call center in India, right? And these call centers, like you say, they work for IT in France and all this other stuff or whatever. So that
right,
person,
there's also engineers, lots of skilled.
yeah. So if you find that person where they're like, yes, I managed a whole group of people where I would love for them to know French. They need to know French.
Exactly. Yeah.
That person would say, hey, all 20 of you, guess what? There's this opportunity.
Exactly,
all you have to do is write an essay explaining why you want to learn French, blah, 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 blah. And he's going to pick one person, 4 people, whatever it is that he wants to pick out of those. And they get to be in that group.
Like a contest. That's a very good idea.
Like a contest,
and it probably would look like the 5 actions.
and if it looks like, if it brings, imagine all those people doing the 5 actions, trying to go ahead and compete, and it'll tell you, right? You'll be able to see so well who's motivated. Right. That's the thing.
And on the other side of the coin, I'm thinking about companies who would like to sponsor talent.
Yes.
Are welcome to do that, with French conversations.
And they would love that because it's good for them. It's a win-win, like you said, right?
Yeah, and there's also, a potential interest in a future hire, also a future talent that they might hire. There's that, and there's also about the competitions, this idea of lots of groups being in a journey and being able to see each other's work and getting inspired by each other's work, and having maybe kind of like a competition, maybe a monthly where there's a few prompts, a few guidelines. I'm copying, said God in here. Sorry, but I love it. I loved it. It was amazing, and I'm still using it to learn and make myself a better person through that platform, French Conversations. And again, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the early members, and to you, and in particular to Shambi today, that's strategic, maybe not. No, it's not. Yeah. Anything else?
No, and it might be a question that we could actually pose in Rise, asking people, do you know of a company or whatever that might be interested in,
Right. So maybe I had an idea that just to finish, I wanted to share is, I'm in the room with I have a finance background and I'm also a finance person. So I'm in the room with leaders, and they teach you to actually own it, to become, they're not these type of gurus that you follow and that tell you what you need to buy or stuff like
Okay.
this. And it's very inspiring to witness, generous leaders like them that have work ethics to the roof. I'm an ant compared to that. Or I mean, disregard what I said. But what I love in finance is that there's no denial in finance. So you either learn from the mistake and become better at it, and it's possible. It's possible, So there's a lot of internal work there to be done. Or if you are in denial, you cannot. It's an impossibility to be in denial. So yeah, I just wanted to, share that here. And also say that I'm grateful for that, for my family who supported me and all of that. And thank you for our renewed collaboration.
Yes, and you are free to use this whole video, parts of the video, whatever, to do whatever you want. I think it's a good way for, especially for some of the people who are in French conversations, I think it'd be good for them to see how much thought goes into the experiences that they're getting and opportunities that they're being provided. I think it's good for them to see that. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
merci beaucoup, Achilles. Et surtout, garde ta flamme intacte. Keep your flame burning, no matter what.
Yes. The good weeks and the bad weeks, whatever you have.
Exactly.
The flame.
Exactly. Life will throw a lot of difficulties, and sometimes it's good to build a callus around your mind so that you can actually handle them.
Yes.
All right.
So tell Neela I said hello. That it was great meeting her. And then yeah. So next week I'll be more like I'll shave my head and wear a nice tie.
We can even maybe do a podcast or something. Whatever. Who knows? Somebody might be interested in this. Yeah, but I'm definitely sharing to the world.
Sharing. It's good for people to see that. I mean, it's great. And who knows, maybe, after this pandemic is done, we could all sit in a nice coffee shop like the way this began, right? Didn't it begin in a coffee shop?
Right.
And that's why I was going to say it's good to get rid of the online part, because at some point there will be, hopefully, we can only hope that people can get together in person,
I mean, both have, good and bad aspects, I think. Yes. But yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, take care. I will talk to you.
Namaste, Achilles.
Have to do the bow. All right. Talk to you later.